Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about my 5 favorite index funds. I love index funds, and all of the money that I invest is into index funds. I don't pick individual stocks. I think it's the best option for most people because it's hard to tell which stocks are going to do well and which ones aren't. But if you invest in an index fund, you are able to invest in a lot of different companies at the same time. And all of these index funds that I'm going to be talking about are diversified, and they generally have low expense ratios and have had great returns. So let's jump right into it. The first index fund I want to talk about is FCNTX. This is actually an actively managed fund, and it's the only actively managed fund that I invest in. It is managed by William Danoff, and it has historically beat the S&P 500 over a long period of time. The manager is phenomenal, so that's why I invest in it personally. Here is FNCNTX compared to the S&P 500. As you can see, it has beat it. If you had invested $10,000 into FCNTX 10 years ago, it would be worth almost $50,000 today. I invest in this personally in my Roth 401k. And a lot of 401ks, a lot of the ones that I've seen actually have this fund if they offer fidelity. So you should look into this one. It's worth looking into. The expense ratio is a little bit higher, but I think the returns historically have made up for that. So personally, I'm okay with paying a little bit more because of the returns that it has generated. Here are the top 10 holdings of the fund. Next, we are going to be talking about SGHD. SGHD is a Schwab fund, and it is a US large cap growth fund. So it is going to be focusing on large established companies that still have the potential to grow a lot. And this is a really great fund and has had great returns and has a low expense ratio. $10,000 invested into this fund 10 years ago would be worth over $47,000 today. And here are the top 10 holdings. The third index fund I want to talk about is a popular one, so you might be aware of it. It is QQQ from Invesco, and this one has a 0.2% expense ratio, but the almost identical version, QQQM, has a lower expense ratio, and it's very similar, and it has a 0.15% expense ratio. I personally hold QQQM because of the lower expense ratio, but both of these are similar, so I don't really think it matters as long as you're investing in one of them or another one of these great funds. Here are the top 10 holdings for QQQM, and here are the top 10 holdings for QQQ. $10,000 invested in QQQ 10 years ago would be worth over $59,000 today. Fourth, we have the total stock market ETF or index fund. On Vanguard, it is VTI or VTSAX. On Fidelity, it is FSKAX. And this encompasses the total stock market, so it has over 3,000 companies in it, so it's very diversified. It has very low expense ratios on any of the major brokerages, and historically has had great returns. Investing in $10,000 in one of these funds 10 years ago would be worth over $36,000 today. Here are the top 10 holdings of the fund. And last, but certainly not least, is the S&P 500. This is probably the most popular, the most common, and it is a great investment. It is very well diversified because it has 500 of the biggest publicly traded companies. Historically, it has returned about 10%. The expense ratios are very small amongst all of the major brokerages. On Fidelity, this is FXAIX. On Vanguard, the ETF version is VU, or the index version is VFIAX, and on Schwab it is SWPPX. Any of these are going to be great options because they're going to be nearly identical, and they're going to have similar expense ratios, similar returns, and similar holdings. Here are the top 10 holdings of the fund. Investing $10,000 in FXAIX 10 years ago would be worth over $39,000 today. Those are personally my favorite index funds. I think any of these are great options. They all have decently low expense ratios. They all have great returns. They are all diversified enough in my opinion. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with these? Do you have others that you feel are better or that you personally invest in? I would love to hear any comments or suggestions. And yeah, let me know what you're investing in. And if you like this type of content, please feel free to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hopefully I will catch you in the next video.